What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Salwa here, and in today's video I am going to share with you what are the best cities for digital nomad aka remote workers here in Mexico. I've been living in Mexico for the last 2 years, so I've traveled all over Mexico and I've made a list of the best cities for digital nomads, and I'm going to base this list off culture aka vibe, cost of living, internet, and the overall vibe friendliness of the place if you wish to come and work remotely here in Mexico. And if you want to stay longer than 6 months, I've made a whole video on how to get your residency here based on economic solvency if you wish to live here in Mexico. So let's dive in. My very first one and favorite one probably is Mexico City. One second, everybody, because there's a motorcycle outside of my window. This is the culprit. This is the culprit. All right, what was I? Mexico City, obviously, everybody know Mexico City. And so I'm going to base this video on pros and cons, and I'm going to tell you what I think are the pros and what I think are the cons. And at the end of the video, I will give you a quick summary. So Mexico City, the pros is huge community of expats, digital nomad, remote workers. So that means you are going to find a lot of co-working spaces, a lot of networking events, and lots of people speak English more than in other towns. The food scene is incredible. You can literally find any types of food you're looking for in Mexico City. Let's not forget Mexico City is over 20 million people living there. It's huge. So the other thing that I really like about Mexico City is that you have Uber and Didi. Those are ride sharing apps. So it's very affordable. You can use them everywhere in the city. Mexico City has two major international airports. So you can really go anywhere in the world from Mexico City. And the transportation system in Mexico City is also great. You have the train, metros, you can rent city bikes. I mean, you have really great infrastructure for transportation. Also, it's very walkable. So if you stay in an area like Roma or Condesa, you can walk pretty much anywhere. And this is one of the things that I really love about Mexico City compared to other cities, for example. On the other hand, the cons about living and working remotely from Mexico City is it can get really pricey in some areas, like Polanco, for example. So you're not going to see a huge difference compared to the US, for example. Also, the pollution is insane. It's in high altitude. There's millions of cars riding around Mexico City. It's incredible. So pollution is bad. So air quality and traffic, it goes hand in hand. So huge traffic. So if you wish to live in Mexico City, I'd recommend you stay in an area where you have everything around: coffee shop, co-working spaces, a grocery store, so that way you don't have to go from one area to the other, or less frequently, I would say. But if you want a big city experience, definitely Mexico City, great place for digital nomads. My next city here is Playa del Carmen. It is on the coast, so you have beautiful beaches there. You have a community of expats, digital nomad, remote workers as well. It's way smaller than Mexico City, obviously. You also have an international airport in Cancun. You would have to take a bus from Cancun and drive down to Playa del Carmen. There's a direct bus that take you from the airport all the way to Playa del Carmen. Didi and Uber, they just started out. I know they just started out in Cancun. I'm not sure about Playa del Carmen, but it is very hard to take transportation out there unless you take taxi, but that's on a whole other videos. But if you leave by the beach, you can walk around, and that's totally doable. What I really like about Playa del Carmen is that it's a vibrant community of expats there, so definitely recommend it. However, it can get really, really hot in the summer. I mean, really hot. You can get very touristy, and this is one of the things that I hate about being a remote worker here in Mexico, is that sometimes I feel like I'm not in Mexico, especially in areas like Condesa in Mexico City, and so is Playa del Carmen. During touristy seasons, it's full of tourists. The other thing that I want to share is that it can get pricey as well because they cater to the expat community. So if you go inland, you can find cheaper accommodation or cost of living. So that's for Playa del Carmen. But overall, I recommend it. It's still beautiful. I would recommend it 10 times over Cancun, which I hate, but that's going to be for another video. My next city that I recommend is Guadalajara, which is the third largest city in Mexico. Huge tech hub, big city vibes for less pricey than Mexico City. So you'll find everything from co-working space, coffee shop, anything you're looking for when it comes to remote work. It has great internet. And then what I love about Guadalajara is that you have like a centro historical, but a lot of these cities have that. You have a centro historical and then you have the more techy big city vibe. So you can find a little bit of both. And this is the birthplace of mariachi and tequila. So that's your vibe. Definitely go check out Guadalajara. On the other hand, for the cons, air quality is not always great depending on the season. You can also have a lot of traffic and then it's a little bit spread out. So that means that you cannot really walk around unless you stay in Centro Historical. You cannot walk around everywhere, so you might have to take taxis. I know Uber works there as well because I've done it a few times when I was in Guadalajara. And so if you are a nature lover and an introvert, that might not be a good place for you, but it's definitely more affordable than Mexico City and you still have that city vibe. The next one on my list is Oaxaca City. Oaxaca is so lovely. It's beautiful. It's smaller. Lots of arts, culture. It's rich. The food scene is incredible in Oaxaca and it's very affordable, although it's starting to increase, especially because of gentrifications. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on this video, so make sure you watch till the end. People are so friendly. There's a community of expats and more people love to have that small town vibe. So Oaxaca definitely recommends. But the cons, I would say, is internet is not as great all the time. So the infrastructure is not as great all the time neither. So the internet varies by neighborhood, and also the expat scene is not as big as Mexico City, for example. The next one on my list is Mazatlan. So if you have been following my journey for a while, I've lived in Mazatlan almost a year. So I've made tons of videos about Mazatlan. You can go and check them out. But what I want to say about Mazatlan is if you're a beach lover and you want to save money, definitely go check out Mazatlan. It's a lot more affordable than Puerto Vallarta or Playa del Carmen. Pros would be affordable cost of living. It's one of the most affordable beach town in Mexico. You have a walkable Centro Historical. So if you wish to live in the Centro Historical, everything is walkable over there. And then if you want to live across from the ocean on the Malecon, it's also walkable. Beautiful. People love to have fun and party. It's just a great scene over there. There's always some events, stuff to do. In my opinion, there's a lot less expats, more retirees, I would say, than the digital nomad community, but it's growing. Another thing I love about the transportation is that not only you can walk around on the Malecon, especially at night when it's less hot, people walk their dog, they go biking. It's really a great vibe. You also have what we call the pulmonia, which is like those, it looks like a golf cart, but it's technically a car and it can take you all around Mazatlan. It's really cool. It's a great experience. It is also a really amazing place for seafood. If you're a seafood lover, definitely go check out Mazatlan. The fish is fresh. You see the fishermen picking up the fish, and then from there you can go to a restaurant, they grill it, and it's like absolutely delicious. But I would say also the pace is a little bit slow. It was too slow for me. That's why I ended up leaving and moved to Puebla, which is my next city that I'm going to talk about in 1 second. The cons for Mazatlan, I think for me, the main thing were it is extremely hot and humid, especially in the summertime. And I would say starting in May all the way to October. And I lived there during that time. It was so hot. You definitely have to have AC because otherwise it's impossible to live. And then if you go outside during the daytime, in 5 minutes you're drenched in sweat. It's just really uncomfortable. And again, if you don't have AC at night, it's a nightmare. Definitely rent with AC. And the other thing along with that is that when the season is hot, summer, all the retirees or the snowbirds or the expats, they leave. They go to a different place, usually from Canada. So we got a lot of snowbirds from Canada and the US. And as soon as May hits, they go back and the town is pretty quiet, you know. So unless when they come back around September till May, this is where it's really vibing. And then you have the carnival, one of the biggest in Latin America, in February. Definitely go check out the Carnaval de Mazatlan. And I've done a whole video on this. You can find right here. Pretty cool. The next city I have on my list is Merida. Merida is extremely safe. One of the safest city in Latin America. And it's about 30 minutes from Progreso, which is the beach. It's very colonial, beautiful town. Really love it. Merida is also very affordable compared to other big cities. You also have a Centro Historical and a main town a little bit further away. You can take taxis, Uber, Didi, all of that works out in Merida. And rich Mayan culture, lots of history. And if you go down a little bit, you will go to Chichen Itza, which is amazing. You definitely want to check it out. The cons would be some infrastructure are still in development. The digital nomads community is fairly small, but still but growing. Um, Again, hot and humid, a little bit like Mazatlan. It is really horrible during summer. So something to think about. And because of the community of expats and digital nomad is still small, there's a smaller nightlife, I would say, and it can feel a little bit quieter. So that's why I'm not there neither. The next town I have for you is Queretaro. So Queretaro is a very nice city. I've been there as well. You have a mix of the colonial charms and the big city charms with malls and very developed. Great internet. There's a huge community of expat, and it's not too far from San Miguel de Allende, which I'm going to talk about next. It's walkable, especially in the Centro Histórico. There's a tons of events. I think I did Halloween there, and I did the Dia de los Muertos in Querétaro, and I really enjoyed myself. That was really great. And then you have tons of cafes, co-working space. So yeah, definitely recommend it if you want to check out Querétaro as a hub for digital nomads. On the downside, though, it can get very expensive, or more expensive than certain places, and definitely more expensive than Mazatlan, for example. I would say it's more suited for retirees than young nomads, like San Miguel de Allende. And that time it can feel touristy, so less vibe for the remote worker community. That's just my opinion. Next one is San Miguel de Allende. So a lot of people talk about San Miguel de Allende because I think he got nominated by Condé Nast, I think, as the most beautiful small town in the world, which I think is a bit overrated, but it's just me. I did a whole video on that. It's a beautiful town for colonial architecture, culture. It's rich, and the food is good. Really nice city. I would recommend it. Very walkable. Tons of cafes, coffee shop. Lots of people go there for retreats. Huge community of expats. Huge, especially retirees, which can be a cons as well. A lot of English speakers in San Miguel de Allende, and a price skyrocketed in the past few years. So something to think about. All right, so on the cons, they kind of tightly related. Lots of tourists, lots of retirees. I feel for me that San Miguel de Allende is not Mexico anymore. I think in the last 20 years, based on what I've seen and heard, it became like a small America. You know, a bunch of Americans there. A lot of them don't speak Spanish. And so I've heard good and bad things about that. I personally didn't like it because, not that I did not like it. I liked it for a few weeks, but I didn't see it as a base for me because it was very small. I didn't feel like there's enough of remote workers or networking events, so I can feel like in a bubble. However, I have a lot of retiree friends who live there, and they just love San Miguel de Allende. The food is delicious. I mean, a lot of people that I know really love it there. So really, it's up to you. I just feel like for my type of energy, I needed to be in a bigger city. So that's why San Miguel de Allende hasn't been on the top of my list, but I still think it's an incredible city to go visit and really beautiful, safe, walkable, all of that. So yeah, go visit and let me know what you think. Actually, let me know in the comments what you think. I would love to know. The last one I have here for you is Puebla, where I am currently. So I left Mazatlan to move to Mexico City. I had a hard time finding a place, and I had limited amount of time. So I decided to go to Puebla. I came here once and I really loved it. Beautiful colonial building protected by UNESCO. It's really a nice town. And then you have the Centro Histórico where I am actually. And then you have other area like La Paz and Angelopolis and all of these areas. And I'll make another video about Puebla specifically. But there, you have big malls, you have IKEA, you have Costco, you have all of that stuff. So really has everything. The other thing that I really love about Puebla is the food. We have the mole, semitas. We have a lot of great food here in Puebla. Proximity to Mexico City. This is why I chose it too. You can take a bus here. It takes about 2 hours without traffic to get you to Mexico City, which I used to actually go almost every week. The other thing I want to tell you about Puebla in the pros is that it's more authentic. And I think that's why I chose it. Less tourists here, more authentic, lots of rich culture. There's so much to learn about Puebla. The Cinco de Mayo was born here. Puebla has the largest volcano in North America, and also the smallest volcano in North America, which I did a whole video about on my travel channel. By the way, go check out my other YouTube channel called Explore with Salua, where I'm taking you on all these adventures. So definitely go check. They have great cafes. Coffee is very good because we're not far from Oaxaca, which I forgot to tell you. Oaxaca, the coffee from Oaxaca, delicious. So is Veracruz, but Oaxaca and Puebla have great coffees as well. The transportation is great. It's walkable here, and if you want to go to the mall, you can just take an Uber or a Didi. Puebla is a lot more affordable than Mexico City. Very affordable. I have done a whole video showing you my house tour, office tour. This is my office here, how much I pay, so make sure you go check out this video. The cons here, and also that would be the reason why I'm moving out of Puebla, is I think the people here are more conservative. It has been very hard for me to make friends in the community here. People are very friendly and lovely, but they don't let you in. It takes time. And I feel like for me, there's a lack of digital nomad remote workers, expats here. We do have few retirees, but usually what happens is people go to Mexico City and then they spend a day or two in Puebla just to go see, and then they go back to Mexico City. This is what I've realized. English is not spoken here, or very less maybe in Centro Historical, but most people don't speak English really pretty much nowhere, because even when I go get my nails done, it's right here in Centro. Nobody speaks English, and thank God I speak Spanish, but that's something to consider. And because of the small community, I think, of expats, it has been very difficult for me to network and build my business, and the nightlife as well is very limited, especially in Centro. So those are the reason why I think I'm moving, but I still recommend Puebla as a hub. Why? Because here actually I get stuff done. Great. I don't have much distraction like Mexico City, and I get a lot of stuff done. So I still feel like it's a great place to come. Internet has been very good. So it really is based on your on what you're looking for. All right, everybody, this is the time of truth. I'm going to tell you my conclusion. I've been living here for a few years. I've been very much involved in the community here in Mexico, learning the language, trying to connect with locals and expats. And this is my verdict. If you want safety and calm, Merida. If you want a city that is modern and well-balanced, Queretaro. If you want a city that has a lot of charms and you are an art lover, San Miguel de Allende. And if you want a big city vibe and tech, Mexico City and Guadalajara. This is my verdict. Before I end this video, I wanted to share this with you. There's a huge problem of gentrification here in Mexico, and not just in Mexico, Spain, Portugal. I know it's everywhere, even Morocco, where I'm from. But if we want to still be welcome in Mexico, I think we should do conscious choices. We should respect the people. We should remember that we came here as guests. We should try our best to learn the language if you plan to stay here longer than 6 months. And when it comes to spending money, I recommend to stick to local. So shop local, rent from local, go to the mercado, go to where locals are. And actually it would be even more affordable to do it this way. The other thing I would recommend not to do is to haggle the price, especially for vendors on the streets. Remember, if you came here from another country, usually if you make your money in a Western country like the US, Canada, Europe, you can afford it. Don't haggle, unless the taxis in Cancun, which I hate, but that's going to be for another video. So really pay for it and tip well. Be nice, be polite, say buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, smile. People are so friendly here, and they're inviting you into their country. So this is my message to you. If you want to be welcome in Mexico, please respect the people who live here. They're welcoming in their countries. And on this note, thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about how I travel and work remotely, I've created a whole guide called the Remote Income Roadmap. I'm going to leave the link down below. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I would love to know, what's your favorite city here in Mexico for remote work? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much. I will see you next time on my next video, and bye-bye from Puebla. Bye!